Make sure you stick around until the end to see how you can win free gear and products. Hey, this is PJ with CLKsupplies, and I want to give you everything that you need to know about the third most popular transponder key in the USA today, the Y164 PT. Now, the Y164 key is to not be confused with the earlier version of that key, which is the Y160. Now, the easiest way to just identify the differences is the color of the head. You'll see that the Y160 is a more gray and the Y164 is more of a tan color. However, all the different manufacturers out there, they have like their own kind of version of what tan looks like. However, by just looking at this picture, it'll give you a good reference point of what is really a tan head and what's a gray head. Now, as far as the Y164 key goes, the chip used in it is the Phillips 46 encrypted. Okay, the ID 46 is what you'll see in a lot of literature. Now, I want to talk about this for a minute because a lot of car manufacturers actually use that ID 46 chip by Phillips. Okay, so including Honda, Chrysler, Nissan, and Mitsubishi. So a lot of times, sometimes guys, they'll want to look at like, hey, I don't have a Y164 in stock. And so they'll kind of start looking at the chip numbers and they'll be like, oh, hey, you know what? This Honda key has it. So let me just grab the chip out of that, put it in a shell and program it, and they're going to find it doesn't work. All right. So you need to make sure when you're looking at it that you're grabbing a ID 46 chip for Chrysler. Okay, so that's something to keep in your back pocket as you kind of go along with that, but the ID46 is a really popular chip used. Now, as far as the test key goes, you can just use a standard Y159 key. Okay, it's a really super popular Chrysler key, has a nice kind of bigger head on it, and that's something that you can use practicing before you start duplicating or originating on the Y164 to make sure it works. Now, the shell used is going to be the TP00CHR-15.PC. All right, now that's the JMA part number for the key shell, but it's important that if you do miscut them, you can take them out and you can replace put the chip in a new shell. That's why I really like the JMA transponder keys, is because you can easily pop them out and replace it. Now, as far as the code series goes, the code series used is going to be the M as in Mary 1 to M2618. Now, once again, in the PDF in the notes below, I'll list all of this stuff out, including all the specs on the code series. Now, let's go ahead and let me show you how you can duplicate the Y164. Now, I'm going to be using the JMA Nomad to duplicate this Y164 key, okay? Or actually, it's going to be the Y159, the test key for it. And I'm going to be using side 1 or side A, sometimes other machines use, to duplicate. Now, I've only ever used side A, so I imagine you'll only ever have to use side A as well. Now, let's take a look at this key for a minute here. So what's gonna happen, you put the key in the jaw just like this on side 1 or A. Now, it sits on there really naturally, okay, which is a really great thing. And what we're doing is on this little ledge right here, on this big groove on the key, that's where we're setting it, all right? And as you can see, even with the cuts there, there's still what I like to call enough meat on the bone or enough material to grip the key. However, since this is a tip stop key, meaning there's no shoulder on this key at all, we're going to align it on the tip. You want to make sure you can get as much of the key as possible on the jaw so there's enough material to clamp to. So in other words, so right here you have these two options, right? You have this option here to clamp it or this option here. Now, if you use this option, as you can see here, let me just try clamping it down. It's not gonna, that's a recipe for a disaster right there, okay? That's not gonna work. So you wanna make sure you always use the furthest away possibility to clamp it down. Even sometimes if I'm a little leery, I'll just take like the tip, this little gauge here, little stop, and I'll just run it into it like that on both sides. And that's gonna give me max meat on the bone here on this key. So, but for this example, we'll go ahead and just back it off right here to the slot, and I'll go ahead and put the key in, and I'll hold it down, and we'll clamp it nice and tight, just like that. Now, we'll go ahead and take our blank key. We'll stick it over here. I'm going to do the same thing. We'll put it in and we'll clamp it down. At this point, we're just going to go ahead and duplicate the key. Now, of course, you always want to make sure these are on here tight. You can always sometimes give it a wiggle, make sure you like how it feels. So let's go ahead, we'll turn the machine on and cut this one side. All right, so we got that one side done. Now, before I always do the other, I like to just turn it on and kind of get rid of some of these little burrs on here. There we go. And we'll flip it over to the other side. Just like that. Now this side's gonna be the little more tricky side to make sure you clamp it down nice and tight, all right? And you can always get in here and make sure it's gonna stay. Now I wanna bring something up for a moment, okay? When it comes to duplicating a double-sided key like this, as you can see, there's cuts on both sides. And there's two kind of schools of thought here. Let me just tell you what I think. So I think if the key looks brand new and is not worn, duplicating just one side of the existing key onto both sides of the new key is not a problem, okay? But if you start seeing any wear at all in the key, I recommend just flipping the key when you duplicate the other side, okay? So that's kind of the philosophy I've developed. You may not want to do that. That's perfectly fine, but that's how I've always done it. So get that lined back up here. Make sure it's nice and tight, and we'll duplicate the other side. Now, one last thing I want to bring up when we're duplicating this key. So I'm going to put it on here, and instead of just kind of following it along, I'm just going to shave off the top. I'm going to shave it down a little bit, okay? And that will always prevent this key from moving around, sliding, and causing problems. So let's go ahead and turn it on, and you'll see me kind of do a couple quick little passes before I come and get all the individual cuts. Here we go. What I've done now is I've halfway got the key, okay, and I've really eliminated any need to worry at this point about the key, flopping up. So we'll go ahead and finish it off here. And there you have it. That is how you can duplicate a Y164 or even a Y159 or Y160 key. So they all use the same, even the Y170. So that's how you can do it. Just go nice and slow and make sure you get everything nice and tight and straight. All right, and there you have it. That's the scoop on the Y164 tan transponder key for Chrysler. Now, make sure that you always keep in mind the ID46 information. It'll be super helpful if you end up having to try to swap some chips or something like that. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. But make sure you download that PDF guide for a quick reference. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm guessing if you just watched this video that you work with locks and keys. And to us here at CLKsupplies, that makes you a lock boss. And we want to hook you up. Here's how it works. Throughout the week, we post videos on YouTube, like the one you just watched, and all you need to do is comment on the videos and include the hashtag LockBoss. When you do this, you're automatically entered in to win one of 5 free prizes that we give out each and every week. No purchase necessary. So if you're a lock boss, join us each week to learn, grow, and win.